Hey guys, it's Pat and Josh coming at you from the hangar with the final update of 2025 for Grace Bomb. And I know this is going to be somewhat of a lengthier video. It might be, I don't know, Josh, what, 10 minutes? 11?
Oof,
12?
please.
12 minutes, maybe. But please hang with me because this is the most important stuff of the entire year. Many of you guys have been sowing into this ministry. This has been the most fruitful viral year Grace Bomb has ever had.
What year?
Fruitful viral year.
Oh, viral.
2025. Fruitful viral year we've ever had. So hang with me, watch this thing to the end. Actually, I think we're putting the very best thing at the end. Wouldn't you say, Josh?
I mean, I think so.
Well, all right. So first, guys, check this out. This is a centerpiece here in the hangar that we set up for our year-end event that displays the many different ways that people heard about Grace Bomb. Starting in March. So in March, we launched our new website. And when people request cards, they give us the, how'd you hear about us? It's an option and they let us know. And we probably have had 1,500 different varieties of the ways Grace Bomb got into the hands of people via my son Joe, or an Instagram story, or I was bombed, or through a friend, or Audible, or Bright FM email, or reading the book, or YouTube, or Instagram, or coworker, or my school, and or church reading the book. There's so many different ways that we have never seen before, and this is awesome to know how God is bringing so many new people into the Grace Bombing army through all of these different varieties, all of these different ways. Been super cool. One of which being, come on over here, Josh.
Okay.
Field trip to the other side. This has shown up several times. Yes, he is Toolkit. Yes, he is UK. These are our global partners. They equip people for evangelism. And in 2025, we did something very cool with them. So come on over to this corner. And again, if you guys were here, you saw this already. But if you weren't, this is a little snapshot of what we had on our event. So we created at the beginning of 2025, 8 new videos that only live on this new Yes He Is app. So these things are not on Instagram, they're not on YouTube, they live exclusively here on their app. And this was an awesome partnership. And in fact, these numbers are a little dated, so I'm pulling out the app right now. So to date, since their launch in the spring, 21,900 people have started to use this app. And out of those people, 12,205 action steps of faith have been taken. So if you don't know about the Yes He Is app, you probably want to check it out. And this was super fun for us to create. And this means Grace Bomb and Grace Bomb content is going all over the world right now, just with our partnership with these guys. That's been super cool. So via the app, Grace Bomb teaching and tools have been broadcast all over the world. But I'll let you in on where I went personally in 2025. In case you're wondering, where in the world is Pat? Where's Waldo? So let's truck to the other side here. This was Grace Bomb on the Road 2025. And I want to point out just a few of these things because Grace Bomb launched in over 50 churches in 2025, all of which I did not attend or I was not a part of. But what I was a part of were a few of these things. We were down in Richmond with Focus on the Family. We were recording in Baltimore around Easter with Bright FM. We did some churches down in Virginia and on the Eastern Shore. I did a training with the Yes He Is crew in Miami as we were preparing to launch for the Latin America Spanish Grace Bomb cards. We typically make a habit of going down to Orlando with an exponential conference in which 5,000 church leaders show up for tools and equipping, so that's a good time. We had a great time at Colorado Christian University back in the turn of the new year, spoke at their chapel, spoke with a smaller breakout of kids. That was really awesome. We stopped over to Life Church and had some meetings with the YouVersion Bible app. And these were just a few other places. Let's not forget Glen Burnie, Maryland. Can't leave out Glen Burnie. But these are a few of the places that I personally went throughout the year as we pushed Grace Bomb further and further and people got more of these tools. So these were a lot of fun. Okay, so I want to show you guys, if you haven't gotten cards lately, the evolution of what we've been mailing out. When we go to places like this, we put thousands of cards in people's hands directly, but with this centerpiece that we started our little journey off on, those people get mailed directly. And so let me show you what we've been up to. So back in the very beginning, once we invented this thing, or when we invented this thing, 2017 to 2022, our Cards 1.0 look just like this, little square mailer and a few cards and a sticker. We've since upgraded since about 2022 with an instruction manual, some tips, some do's, some don'ts, a little bit more scripture that people get, a few more cards, and a nice little card holder. But we are currently sending these and also starting to phase these things out. With this 3.0 offering that we are starting to put in the hands of people, the instruction manual is now on our website. It's a lot easier to update, put new ideas, put new stories and new videos right there as people need. And so this is what is starting to get mailed out and put in the hands right now. And you might be wondering, okay, so how did 2025 go? How many cards? How many stories? We got a little flavor of that, but to date, and we're not quite done the new year, but we measure two things here at Grace Bomb. How many cards get into hands of people and how many cards get put into action. And one key indicator of that is the stories that we hear. So we have put into hands 92,335 cards this calendar year. Yep, boom, one, awesome. I think bigger than any year we've ever had. And we've heard over 1,000 stories of people who have got grace bombed or they were doing the grace bombing. And this is a great indicator too, because often we don't hear a ton of the stories, but we got more story reports than ever before. So speaking of stories, I do want to share with you what I think is probably the most powerful story of 2025. And Josh, come back with me just for a second. You'll probably see around here a name Joe pops up a couple of times. Friend Joe, my son Joe, Joe Warren in Syracuse, New York. I want to share that story with you. But before I do, I just want to say thank you for sowing into this ministry. All of these things that have been happening around the world, all of the very simple, everyday ways that people can take a step of faith and love their neighbor, all of the ways that people are popping their bubbles and taking Jesus out there and taking him seriously. This is all happening because of generosity and faithful giving. You all sowing into this ministry, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all that we got to do in 2025. Now on to the story that I think is probably one of the most powerful stories we received in 2025, particularly because we first heard from Dwight, who got grace bombed, and then you're going to hear directly from Joseph, who did the grace bombing. But Dwight wrote us an incredible story in which he was asked to give a family a ride home back to their car at a nature park. And he said in his story that he's not having the best year, that he is out of work, and that he's going through a divorce after 18 years that he did not want. But then surprisingly in his story, he said, that family didn't know it, but I was there that day to spend time with my only friend, and then when I reached the bluff, I was going to take my life. And he reported in the story that this family who came and met him and ultimately grace bombed him was the reason that he did not end his life that day. And he was thankful and gracious and wished that he could get connected with this family again. So we did some spade work and we found out who did that grace bombing. And now I want you to hear the rest of the story from Joseph Warren about what happened.
That was a unique day. It was being able to go to a place that my family and I had never been to before. We were just going to go on a nature hike, and we parked the car and we headed off. And it got to the point in kind of the roundabout. So there's multiple miles. I don't know if you've looked at the park map or not, but basically there's a main way back to where the car was that when we got to it, all of a sudden it started getting really muddy. Like we got to the point where we're now up on logs and we're trying to like hop across things. We've got my mother with us, and it's this is not ideal. All of a sudden my sister's like just twisted my ankle, and it becomes a point of contention in the family where I'm like, let's just charge the storm and go for it.
Uh,
And my sister's getting mad and saying, I'm just going to walk the entirety of the trip back. So several miles to the car. I'll go get the car. Like, I started praying just
uh,
instantly in that moment. I was like, why don't we just pray about this and figure it out?
mm,
So we started to head back up to the trailhead, and there was another parking lot off to the side. And again, the contention was happening with
mm,
my sister of, I'm just going to go and I'm going to do this. You guys can wait. You don't have to come with me. I
yeah.
was like, I feel like we're supposed to go in this direction. She's like, well, there's nobody there. Like, how's that going to get us to the other parking lot? I was like, the Lord will provide. We're just going to go in this direction. I'm feeling the nudge in the spirit.
Mm,
This is the way that we're going to go. She's like, you're just going to talk to strangers and ask for a ride? I was like, if that's what it is, then yes.
mm,
So we got down that series of steps to this other parking lot, and there was only a couple cars that were in that area. Most of them were vacant, but I happened to see two guys um, sitting in one of the cars. So they kind of hung back, and I went up to the car and was like, I asked the driver of the vehicle, could you give us a lift to the other parking lot? Like if we were to walk it, it's going to be dusk by the time we get there. It's another couple miles, but by
mm.
car, it's a pretty easy ask. And interestingly, the driver turned to the person next to him and said, could you give him a lift? It seems so strange that the person who's in the vehicle is now asking the person who's
Mm,
sitting beside it.
yeah.
So that happened to be Dwight. I didn't know his name at the time, but that's when he got out of the car. And he was like, "Yeah, my car's over here. Let me start to kind of clean out the spot. I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to do something good." Okay, perfect. We
Mm,
appreciate it.
mm,
Got to know his name, and we all piled into the car, and he was bringing us back. And as we were going, just kind of keeping the conversation going, we started to find out that he recently had back issues. So there was this major issue with his back. And immediately in my head, I'm like, we're going to be praying for physical healing for this gentleman. So he brings us to our car. And right when we get there, I give the ask of like, since you were so kind, is there any way that we could be praying for you? He's
mm,
like, well, the back pain that I've been having. So we ask if we can lay hands. We start to pray over him. Immediately, my sister hops out of the car. I'm not sure if it's because she didn't want to be a part of the prayer, but like I just let her go. Unbeknownst to me, she was grabbing a grace bomb.
mm,
So my mom and I were in the car. We're praying over Dwight's back. And as I have my hand on his shoulder, I just see like in the spirit enough that I open my eyes that I just see tears rolling down his face.
mm,
And I go, as I'm still praying, I'm thinking we're going to see the miraculous take place right before us, completely in expectancy. He turns to me after the prayer and he says, "You have no idea what you've just done."
mm,
Like, I don't. Tell me about it. Like, what is it that we have just done? He goes, I just thank you. Just thank you. He reaches over and he gives me a hug. And my sister comes to the car and she's like, here. And he's like, no, 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 no money, no money, no money. She's like, you were so kind. Like, let us just give you money with the grace bomb. And we give it to him. And I was like, I don't know what I've just done, but I know that God has just touched you, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
mm,
And that was kind of where things went. And we left on our way. And my mom was turning to me. She's like, there was something that just shifted in that man's life. And we're like, well, when you pray and God shows up, that's what happens. So
mm.
we're like, maybe he's going to have another scan and this back pain is healed, et cetera, et cetera. To then, because that was on Mother's Day, to then get the email from you on my mother's birthday, which happens to be the same week, while all of us were gathered together again,
Jeez.
and read through the email from Gail of what took place,
Yeah.
all of our hearts stirred.
Mm,
I don't know if you guys know this, but I lost my father to suicide. I lost my uncle to suicide,
dude.
and I almost lost me to suicide in 2018. And my
Wow.
family walks annually, not only in remembrance, but in support of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Mm,
So it was like just this culmination
wow.
of this spiritual attack that we have been waging war in the trenches on a regular basis in litany of ways that now, unbeknownst to us, we're still being able to just be warriors in the spirit and standing against that in somebody else's story.
So thanks again, guys, for hanging with me. We are trusting God for many, many, many more stories just like Dwight's and Joseph's in 2026. And on behalf of the Grace Bomb board, the Grace Bomb team, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And in the chance you have not had the opportunity to give a year-end gift, you can definitely do that. Thank you so much for sowing in to all that God's doing. Can't wait to see you in 2026.